Hello friends, Adam here with FED. Today we're going to talk about how well is Fire Emblem represented in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. We're going to go through all the stages and all the characters, and I don't know, I might make a brief mention of music and stuff here or there. So just to reiterate, this is how well Fire Emblem is represented in Smash. This isn't about how many characters there are, how many stages there are, how many pieces of music there are. This is about what is in there, and it's also not some sort of opinion of, oh, this is a good character or this is a good stage. I don't feel like I'm really qualified to talk about that in particular, but I do feel very qualified to say, yes, this character with this moveset, these animations, these voice lines, whatever, represents their character in Fire Emblem well, and that is what we're going to be going over today. That's what I'm going to be rating out of 10. So we're going to start with the stages. We'll go through them quick so we can get to the characters, because I know that's why you guys are actually here, and that's why I made the video in the first place, but I figured I should talk about stages as well. So first, going in chronological release order of these stages, we have Castle Siege. As the name implies, it is extremely generic, just a generic castle setting. Although it does seem to be inspired by Path of Radiance and Radiant Dawn. That could just be me, but I think it is, and I mean, it became a stage around the time those games came out, right, in Brawl. So that would make sense to me, but there's no way to be sure, and it doesn't really matter anyways, because again, just generic castle setting, and really it doesn't represent any place well at all. Aside from, like, yes, castles, so medieval time, which is like Fire Emblem, I guess, you know, medieval stuff, and then war, which again, Fire Emblem usually has war stuff going on. I'm just going to say it's a 2 out of 10. I think it's pretty bad as far as a representation of Fire Emblem goes. I do like the stage, though, to be fair. Alright, next we have Arena Ferrox, which first appeared in Super Smash Bros. 4 3DS. This is actually a place in a video game. You know, it's not just generic Castle Siege. It's from Awakening. So that's a huge plus in its favor. Huge plus in its favor. I will say that the changing platforms and whatnot have nothing to do with Fire Emblem, but I understand why you do it as a gameplay element, just to make it more interesting, because otherwise it is just like, it would just be a flat play area. So the moving stage hazards and popping up platforms and stuff, those are cool. Honestly, I think it was a pretty good pick on the part of Sakurai and whatnot. I really like it, and I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. I think it's a pretty solid stage. I think it's not perfect, of course, but pretty good. Pretty good. Alright, next we have Colosseum, which first appeared in Wii U. Smash for Wii U. Again, similar issue that I have with Castle Siege is that it's just a generic arena setting. That being said, arenas are so common in Fire Emblem that I kind of like that it's here. I like the inclusion of an arena. They've been around. Were they in the first game? I believe they were. They've been around at least since the third game. I know that for sure. They've been around for a long time, and they are a huge part of a lot of our memories of Fire Emblem. So I think Colosseums or arenas, that was a really good addition. However, I do think it's pretty lackluster. I wish they would have. It could have included something that meant more to the player, and it really just kind of feels like discount Arena Ferrox in terms of representation in Smash. So with that said, 4 out of 10 for Colosseum. Finally, we have Garreg Mach Monastery. I think this is probably the best represented stage, like Fire Emblem representation for stages and stuff. It shows off some of the more memorable places and characters from Three Houses. I really love the beautiful view you get when you change areas that shows off like the mountain range that houses Garreg Mach. But outside of just showing stuff, it doesn't do more than that. So I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. Even though I do think I like it more than the other ones, but it's not much enough to make it an 8 for me. So the stages were pretty hit or miss. And here is what I would want to see changed or added to make it more, just to represent it better, you know? So I just want like some little quirks from the games. Nothing huge. So for Three Houses, for instance, like show off the mess hall at Garreg Mach and have food flying around, or just have food that you can collect to eat. Like that should just be a small thing I think would go a long way. Or like go to the steam room and have areas that will deal like heat damage or damage over time if you stay in certain areas too long. Things like that to show off like, yes, there's the steam house and this is how it works in game too. I think that would have been really cute, but you know, we didn't get that. So overall, stages are like a 5 out of 10 for me. Some good, some bad, and most of them are just kind of whatever overall to me. All right, let's get into the characters. This is the interesting stuff. So we're going to go down the list here with Marth starting. Marth in Fire Emblem, you know, he's a royal. He, you know, obviously like classically trained fencer type dude. And that translates relatively well into Smash. I think they do a good job of just having... He has like a lot of generic just sword swings, and it kind of comes off as generic sword dude. But to be fair, that's kind of what Marth is, and it does kind of fit, again, the royal fencer type guy. The biggest plus in his favor is his neutral B, which is the shield breaker, so charges up and breaks shields like really well. That's kind of its whole niche. And I think that represents the rapier really well, which is Marth's signature weapon up until you get the falchion, however you say it, later in the game. And I guess in FU1, the Mercurius is also his personal weapon. But represents the rapier really well, and I like that a lot. So overall, I think Marth is like a 6 out of 10. He's not great as far as representing his Fire Emblem, but he does represent his character pretty well. So a 6 out of 10 I think is fair. Alright, next we have Lucina, you know, the Echo Fighter, the Marth clone, which makes some sense because, you know, she pretends to be Marth. But I wish they had added some moves or changed some moves for her that felt more like her from Awakening. Because as it stands, it literally is just Marth except a girl. Which is fine, but again, I don't think it represents her very well at all. So I'm going to give her a 4 out of 10. Alright, next we have probably the character that I have the biggest problem with in this context. Roy. Roy in the Binding Blade is like 15. He's very, like, he's shown as being very like short in stature, a small man, small kid. And Smash just throws that out the window. He's entirely too old. He sounds and looks like he's 25. He's just like too like muscular and big. You know, Roy's meant to be this small, weak boy who needs to rely on his friends to overcome obstacles, which that's just kind of his thing. He's a like master tactician is supposed to be Roy's thing, not big burly fighter man. However, I do like the flame effects on a lot of his attacks because the Binding Blade does flamey things, so that's cool. But overall, Roy, 2 out of 10. The only thing keeping him from being a 1 out of 10 is because of the flamey things. It would be a 1 out of 10, but 2 out of 10, he does not represent his character or Fire Emblem in any particular way well. Pretty bland, as far as that goes. That being said, Roy is probably my most played character in Smash, so no bias, I swear. Right, next we have Chrom, and this might be a bit controversial rating, I guess, because of what I just said for Roy. Chrom does fit Roy's moveset better than Roy does, because in-game Awakening, Chrom is, you know, kind of the rough and tumble kind of character. So having these really fast, strong moves, stuff, just kind of like almost glass cannon-y, really works for him, in my opinion. I don't get why he has wind effects to his attacks, though. Like, it makes no sense to me, but I guess they just wanted to add some pretty effects, and wind kind of like looked nice with him. So that's whatever. And his voice lines are probably the best of the characters, and they're pretty nice. Pretty nice. So, for Chrom, even though he is a Roy clone, I will say I think he fits that character better. So he's going to be a 6 out of 10. It always bothered me how Ike was portrayed in Smash. I don't like that he is so slow, because in game he's meant to be this. Honestly, he's meant to be like an extremely fast sword fighter dude. So, or not even extremely fast, but he has potential to be one of the fastest characters in the game, in both of his games. So I don't see why they made him so slow, but it's just to give him like a different niche than Marth and Roy, I guess, make him slow and really strong. So it's cool, I guess. Aether definitely should be included as an attack for him, which is nice. I like that he uses Ragnall. They could have just given like him some generic sword, but I'm glad they didn't. It'd be cool if they incorporated some sort of like beam attack, you know, like Cloud's neutral B. Kind of give him like a blade beam, because, you know, that's part of what the Ragnall can do, can like shoot freaking lasers or something, which is funny. So that would have been cool. I think overall, I'll give Ike like, I don't know, a 6 or a 7 out of 10. Doesn't really matter all that much to me, but he's okay. Right, next we have Robin. So not only does Robin represent his character well, he represents the series as a whole incredibly well with his weapon durability mechanic. And the fact that he uses magic and swords together just shows off a whole another side of the series that hasn't been in Smash up to this point. Magic is such a huge part of Fire Emblem. There's so many characters that are so iconic to the series that don't have any representation at all that are mages. And Robin alleviates that a little bit. He gets to show off some of the more magical side of Fire Emblem. I think that is a really cool thing. The weapon durability, while kind of an annoying gameplay mechanic, that's Fire Emblem to a T, right? That's like one of like the hallmarks of a Fire Emblem game, except for like, I don't know, Gaiden and and Fates and Echoes and stuff. But overall, I think Robin is one of the best represented characters in Smash in general, and of course for Fire Emblem. So 9 out of 10 for Robin. Okay, Corrin. Lots of generic sword swings and made up attacks using his like dragon parts, I guess, like the wings and whatever. Like, I don't really like this one, but it's more intriguing to me than, say, Roy or Lucina. I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. I'm not super impressed. I don't think it even represents his character well or like in-game well, but I think they did better than with Roy, essentially. I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. Just leave it a 5 out of 10 and call it good. Alright, finally, we have the most recent character being Biloth. Biloth uses 5 different attack types from his game, being swords, axes, lance, bows, and gauntlets, if you think about it. His jab is totally like a gauntlet attack that you would see in-game. Even has the kick for his third jab, which is really cool. I'm trying to think of when the gauntlet people do that. Is it when they have like 4 attacks in a row or 3 attacks in a row? Every now and again they'll kick instead of punch, and I think it's really funny. But he'll do it. And it really shows off the versatility of every unit in 3 houses. Really cool. And on top of all that, the specials, aside from up B, are the combat art attack animations. If you look at them, you know, he does a lance, axe, and bow combat art animation in his attacks there. And it looks really good. They even have like the cracked ground for when he slams a mirror using like smash, essentially. It looks really good. All of it looks good, really, and it feels great, and represents 3 houses in Fire Emblem as a whole incredibly well. I only wanted to give one character a 10 out of 10. I was either going to give Robin a 10 out of 10 or Biloth, and I think I'm going to give it to Biloth here. Biloth definitely is the 10 out of 10 for representing Smash. I mean, representing Fire Emblem in Smash. Very, very well done. Okay. So overall, I think Smash does a pretty good job of representing Fire Emblem as a series. I'll give it like a 7 out of 10. That's not an average of scores or anything, but 7 out of 10 feels pretty fair. I think characters are definitely the strong suit. Stages are a little weaker. Music is also really great. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. How well do you think Fire Emblem is represented in Super Smash Bros.? I'd be really curious to hear your thoughts, and also just to tell me, maybe some things that I got wrong. I don't know, I'd be interested. And please like the video, subscribe, all that, and I'll catch you next time, friends.